I'm Dr. Christopher Barker. Welcome back to Holding Space. If this is your first time with us, then welcome to Holding Space. I talk about various psychological topics. I am a clinical psychologist in the state of New Jersey. I have been for at least 25 years, but who's counting? The subject matter ranges from serious disorders to coping with various pop psychology topics, I guess. When we talk about emotionally immature parents, emotionally immature partners, there's no diagnosis for that, but it is something that we have to talk about. Gaslighting, you name it. But today I'd like to hit on something that's a little more, I guess, almost fun, but definitely has far-reaching implications. Anybody ever heard of the Mandela Effect? Now, what you may have heard may in fact be an example of the Mandela effect, but it was coined in 2009 by Fiona Broome. She was a paranormal researcher, and she discovered that she and a lot of other people had a memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. He did not, in fact, die in prison in the 1980s. You can look it up. But you'll probably find some articles that said that he did. He actually passed away in 2013. But that's just one example. There are hundreds, literally hundreds of false beliefs about things that people will swear to you is true. And sometimes it's about seeing a meme that catches on. Sometimes it's about hearing something that catches on. Darth Vader did not say, "Luke, I'm your father." Luke, I'm your father. I can't do that. Anyway, no, he said, "No, I'm your father." And that is completely different. And the evil queen did not say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" She said, "Magic mirror on the wall." These are just some examples of some things that people will swear happened, but they didn't. And all it really takes is something to be catchy enough to be heard and believed by a large number of people, and then it becomes viral, as I hope our podcasts do. Um, and at that point, it becomes kind of like part of the collective unconscious. A whole group of people will believe that something happened one way when it actually didn't. Like, for instance, me telling you that chewing bubblegum early in life will lead to diabetes by the time you're 40. Now, if you put a lot of stock in the things I say, some people do, you might believe that, and you might go around telling people that. It does not, in fact. And there are numerous examples of people who will tell you something that they know patently is not true, but you believe that it is because you either believe the person or it sort of fits with, and we talked about confirmation bias, it sort of fits with what you believe. So if you believe having a lot of sugar early in life could contribute to developing diabetes later on, then my words will slip into that slot and it will be part of your, again, belief system. It'll be something that you manage to hold on to. We talk about something in CBT. Oh dear, he's going to draw again. Yes, he is. In CBT, we talk about having inputs that fit with your ego state. So if you have a belief and they commonly draw it like this, and no, that is not Pac-Man or Ms. Pac-Man. It is how we come to represent the ego. And if your ego says something like, "I'm worthless, I'm no good, I'm a terrible person," then the types of things that you're going to encounter, if you encounter somebody who treats you like a terrible person with a negative bias, that's going to fit right in there because it is shaped to fit that slot. You have things where people will say positive things about you. "Oh, you're really great. I really like the way you did that." It doesn't fit. You got to forget it. And you'll remember this because it fits. So if we hear something that we believe, or it's something that we have come to trust the source, and again, I'm going to blame the internet for a lot of this because things get published and said. They're influencers. There are people who will come out and make statements about things that they believe or just that they want you to believe. And they become enough a part of the mainstream. They become viral enough that you actually come to believe it. Mandela Effect has been around for a while, and it's certainly probably been around as long as there are people because things that were published in newspapers, word of mouth in caveman days, it's probably something that has been around for a very long time. We've just come to label it that, and it's kind of a catchy name. And initially, people think it refers to something else like Mothman or something like that, but no, it's referring to the false belief about Nelson Mandela. But again, it could be anything. Mickey Mouse did not have suspenders. Oscar Mayer is spelled Mayer, but it's pronounced with an E. There's literally hundreds of examples, and it might be fun for you to read through some of them and go, wow, I really thought it was that. It really wasn't. And that some people have actually taken this to say that because ever since 2020, things seem to have gone kind of off the rails. We're in some sort of alternative timeline or matrix whereby there are things happening that fit in perfectly with this timeline, but they really are not what we remember because we remember the alternate timeline. And that's how deep this can get. And that's how far people can go with wanting to hold on to their beliefs that they will invent a matrix, which was a movie, just a movie. But it has entered into the public consciousness enough that people talk about taking the red pill or the blue pill. And it's become enough widespread that people know what that means. And people are able to, I guess, rationalize the things that they believe. Because again, if it fits with your belief system, you're going to find a way to make it fit. If it fits with what you have come to know about yourself, or what you've come to know about the world, or what you've been programmed to believe about the world through parents or schools or social media or whatever, you're going to hold on to that very stubbornly. And that becomes how you define your reality. You argue with people to the point of picking fights, saying, no, 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 it's not that way, it's this way. It gets in between two things. One, our relationship with other people, and also our relationship to reality. We tend to stick to what we know and operate as though that's actually true. Somebody said at one point recently, and this is actually a fact, it sounds like it might be Mandela effect, but it's not, that there is more news and information in edition of the New York Times than someone in the 1700s or 1600s learned in their entire lifetime. And that's entirely possible because there wasn't as much to do. There weren't the technicalities of life that there are now. You had a pretty simple life. You were able to build your own house with your hands. You were able to build a cart with your hands. You were able to do just about anything that came into contact with your world because things were fairly easy to develop. You couldn't build an internal combustion engine. I can't build an internal combustion engine. I have some idea of how they work, but I couldn't build one. I don't have that information. And so some of us have specialized knowledge sets. Some of us have specialized abilities. And it was Arthur C. Clarke who said the more advanced a civilization becomes, the more technology seems like magic. And that is true. We have become so specialized that we know a great deal about what we know about, and we don't know a great deal about other things. I could tell you a lot of things about psychology, and well, I do on here. And if you know me in person, I'll probably start spouting off on something or other about psychology, but it's based on what I know. And I don't know everything. I clearly will state this once more categorically before anyone points it out. I do not know everything. You're welcome to take issue with that or with the things that I say. Leave a comment, subscribe, like what you see if you do, and feel free to correspond with us. I'm always glad to get comments. I'm always glad to get emails. Anytime someone has a question or a comment or a suggestion for a topic that they want me to cover, please feel free to let me know. That was a brief digression to a word from our sponsor. so to speak. But again, what we're talking about today is how we allow certain memes, pieces of information that sort of fit with what we believe to dominate our viewpoint. And it can be unproductive to the point that we are not working with the same knowledge base that other people are. And it comes between us. We see arguments about politics. We see arguments about beliefs about life, about religion. And that's what you believe. It may not be what I believe. And that has to be respected to a certain extent. The very phrase, politics makes strange bedfellows, people tend to imagine that people of different political viewpoints get into bed together. No, what Shakespeare meant by that was it estranges bedfellows. It comes between even the closest relationships. And what applies to politics also can apply to Darth Vader. There's a meme for you. I hope you have a good day. Thank you for holding space, and I will hold space for you. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and leave questions and comments. Thank you.